Hey everybody, Drafter. I just wanted to share a couple of my nuggets with you guys today in terms of my knowledge and hopefully my experience to you so that you can take this to heart and, use it whatever way you see fit. And hopefully this will help you, through the economic times and hopefully in the future as well as you start to grow your wealth, as you start to save money aside, endeavor into new projects, and hopefully start rebuilding your personal financial life. Now, I'm going to talk about three things. Number one, I'm going to talk about some of the things about budgeting, and I'll give you an idea of what you can expect when it comes to budgeting so that you can optimize the cash flow and what you can do to kind of scout out opportunities as you're budgeting and what's the maximum spend and so on and so forth. And I'll give you a reason behind that. The second topic we're going to go into is the concept of what's happening with your personal credit, what the bureaus are going through, some of the changes, and how you can take that information towards moving forward with your personal credit journey. Hopefully this will help you as well. Just kind of reproduce some of the best results possible when it comes to getting the credit fixed, as well as some of the ins and outs of some of the things that you need to know when it comes to getting that credit fixed. So that's an important component here. And the final and third topic really is an overview of the mission here at the A-Team, what we've been doing. And I want to bring you up to speed in terms of the resources that I want to bring in front of you so that you can look at that and evaluate whether or not it's something that you're willing to work with, because it might benefit your wealth down the road. So once again, if you're new to this channel, obviously we teach you about personal finance, transformational finance, as well as your personal credit. And if that's something that you're interested in and you want to level up your knowledge, don't forget to subscribe and turn that notifications on to all. So every time there's videos like these, you'll be the first to know. And don't forget to smash that like button. So every time the YouTube algorithm sees that you're watching my videos and obviously liking it, it's going to help and get that distribution across other people who might be interested in the same content as you are. And I definitely don't want them to get that missed opportunity there, right? So with that said, let's get started. So the first topic, what are we going to talk about? So the first topic is a question of budgeting. There's a reason I want to bring this to your attention is because a lot of people right now during the pandemic and post-pandemic are going to have challenges and difficulties when it comes to allocation of budget, what they should prioritize, what they should give up on, and how to really use that system to take them gradually to the ladder where they need to be. With times like these, there's a lot of people who lost their jobs. There are people who are scouting for opportunities. There are people who are starting their businesses. They're using a lot of credit. They're using leverage to survive. They're tapping into the government resources that they have, such as the stimulus packages. And on top of that, they're probably looking for ways to optimize how they spend their money, how they improve their cash flow, and hopefully reduce the expenditures overall to make it optimal so that they can live comfortably. So with that, I want to give you some tips as to how to adjust your budget to the best of your ability, in addition to some of the systems that I'll share with you to maximize the value of your income. So whatever income you have or whatever information of capital that you're working with or the resources that you have, the goal is to allocate your budget accordingly. So a good trick to that is always keep a reserve of at least 10% of your earnings. Now, this comes from a very old age saying, and you can actually find it in the principle of, The Richest Man on Babylon, which is a great book I read. And I recommend you guys go through it, take your time to really read and see some of the lessons in there. But there's a reason why it's so practical. If you take 10% of your earnings and you put it aside every month, there's opportunity and income that comes from that. And the reason I say it's an opportunity income is because that money can be tapped into in the future if you need it to use it for an opportunity that you might want to obviously venture into. The golden trick here is as you're putting away 10% a month, and let's assume you have an opportunity that's going to cost you a certain amount of dollars, you want to make sure that the fund that you saved aside, that emergency capital, is not being depleted at 100% for that opportunity. And you shouldn't be too emotionally attached to it because that's going to put your financial infrastructure and the ladder of your growth at risk. The best way to evaluate whether an opportunity is viable for you and how to manage that savings fund is that it should not be more than 30 to 40% of your pot. So let's assume you saved $100,000 and now you have an opportunity that came across the door and you're like, man, I want to invest in that. When you ask yourself how much I should invest, you should think a maximum of $30,000 to $40,000 at most. You never want to deplete your pot. And don't start reinvesting after you've done that until your pot is replenished again. So that means that you start saving an additional 30 to 40,000 until you have the 100 again. So that's a golden rule to follow. That's one way of really analyzing the scenario to optimize your cash flow and opportunity optimization. So once you put that money aside and you put 10% aside, the maximum leverage on that overall savings when an opportunity comes across the board should be a maximum of 40%. that's the threshold you want to work with. Also, when it comes to budgeting, have a calendar of what you need to address on a priority basis. Create a quadrant and look at the most important and urgent things that you need to tackle. And even though it's very cringy and it's just excruciating and you don't like it, it's unpleasant, the feelings are just not positive, I implore you to go ahead and, even though it's not as positive and it's not great, to try and tackle that obligation. And the reason I say this wholeheartedly, it's because it's going to make you feel so much better once you start taking on that responsibility. Once you start taking out that high priority item down your list, what's going to eventually happen is you're going to optimize your performance on a financial level, and it's going to improve your confidence in the ability to do more. So go ahead and look at that priority list and start tackling that down. And again, don't forget the 10% savings rule, and don't forget the 30 to 40% maximum of that pot invested in opportunity rule to optimize your budgeting. And hopefully that's going to get you on your way. There's a lot of things I want to also talk about, but I don't have a lot of time here. But one of the biggest things I want you guys to pay attention to is the stuff that you have at home. This is a time to start liquidating some of the assets that are not necessarily in your favor. I'm not talking about stocks or bonds or selling off investment property. I'm really talking about whatever some of the stuff you have. Perhaps it's sitting in your basement, or you're hoarding some stuff because you're emotionally attached to it, or you're just simply having extra things at home that you're not necessarily using. It's time to put it in a secondary marketplace, or try to get that liquidated and taken care of, or perhaps do even a garage sale. And the reason I say that is because I'm not trying to get you guys to think about like save every penny or a dollar, but it's the principle of decluttering, but capitalizing on your declutter, right? A lot of people declutter and call like 1-800-JUNK or something like that and try to get rid of the mess. And the reality is you can actually liquidate that stuff off. So as you declutter, in a budget sense, you always have to think about capitalizing on that so that you can make at least some sort of dollars on your decluttering process. So that's why I encourage you guys to, as you're doing it, to really declutter your space, to minimize everything and try to optimize your lifestyle. Try to capitalize on it as you're doing it, because there are secondary market buyers and they are looking for things all the time. So that's one thing I want you guys to really consider when it comes to budgeting. So those are the 3 points. Again, 10% of your savings, and from that savings pot, maximum use is 30 to 40% when it comes to an opportunity until that opportunity passes, and then replenishing that pot. And the third rule is, as you declutter and get rid of not essentials, try to capitalize on it by selling it in a secondary marketplace. Good places like that, it could be Facebook, Craigslist, whatever the case. You guys have a whole list of that. So that's our session here with budgeting. And I think that this is very important, because if you follow these steps, and hopefully, try to get encouraged to do it, because it's not easy at the beginning, right? A lot of us want to, think about some of the opportunities in the future and how we can increase our income. But management of expectation is very important, because we have to be realistic. In addition to that, we have to practice money management anyways. So might as well start now rather than later, because you're going to do a lot better when you actually have much more to deal with when it comes to capital, and you're going to increase the opportunities by tenfold if you know how to manage well, right? So I hope you guys took this message to heart, because I wanted you guys to learn that. Moving on to our next topic. So our next topic is about personal credit and some of the changes that you'll need to make when it comes to approaching your credit repair journey. The first thing I can tell you by my notice and some of the things that I've seen is that you have to really start to structure your personal credit journey towards more of a personalized approach. The eOscar lately has been kicking off letters and has been delaying the situation of investigation, because they feel like there's a lot of things that are happening that they feel, hey, this doesn't make any sense to us. And, there's a lot of things that are looking like it's been templated and so on and so forth, and you're getting kickbacks. When it comes to these type of situations, you absolutely need to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is being customized, and avoid using jargon like industry FCRA standard stuff and all that. Let the lawyers take care of that for you. But if you're going ahead and tackle your personal credit items, use a personalized approach. Understand how to read the reports properly. Take your time to really dig deep into the infrastructure of certain items, whether it be a collection agency, whether it be a charge-off, whether it be a late payment. Look at the payment grid. Does it make sense to you that all the payment grid is matching up? Everything makes sense. The 30 days, 30 and 60, 60. Also look at charge-off items. What are some of the information that's missing? Why is it missing? Questioning the payment grid's infrastructure. Questioning certain items, the way they're reported. Missing information is very non-compliant towards actually being accurate, which the eOscar says it's accurate. So you have to learn to read your reports properly. Make a customized approach, which is basically look at the letter and your reports, customize a letter that makes sense and pertains to your specific report, highlight that item, copy the report if you can and print it, and then send it off to the credit bureaus. The reason I say this is so highly critical is because now you're not templated anymore. You're very specific, and your request will be looked at more often than not because there's a lot of templates that are going out there. And the escrow is starting to get smarter. The algorithm's picking up on certain things, and they're invested hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure over the years to make sure that it's favoring them and their ability to ensure a compliant way of, selling data. So management of that database, which is the credit bureaus, requires complicated infrastructure. So if you're trying to mess with that infrastructure, then you want to make sure that you're being very specific in terms of how the data is warehoused about you on your credit reports. And that requires a level of customization, like I said. You really need to know how to read the report. So do your best to analyze that. Look, if you need more help on understanding it a little bit more deeper, understanding why eOscar works the way it does, and more on the compliance side of things, you have the Ultimate Personal Credit Mastery 2.0. So feel free to check that out. It's in the description of this video. You can invest into it. It's an investment in yourself. And hopefully, if you like what you learn, you can start something to help other people as well achieve the same outcomes that you have. So go ahead and check that. The link is in the description. It's called the Ultimate Personal Credit Mastery 2.0. So feel free to check that out. On that note, I want to finish off with something very important with you guys. And that's the third and final point to this video. And that is the situation with businesses and the resources I want to bring to the table in front of you so that you can look at the opportunities that are in front of you. And if you'd like to grab it and you want to take advantage of that, it is something that you can absolutely do. So the first thing I really want you guys to pay attention to and look at is if the business is in a situation where it's distressed, or whether the owner is exhausted and they want to walk out, or there are certain situations that they came across that they're actually feeling uncomfortable operating their business as it is. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because we're in a situation right now with the A team and myself specifically that we're looking for solving problems, business problems. We've been investing. On a personal level, have gone through several businesses to give some advice and strategic gameplay to take them out of the situation of debt prior to even the whole pandemic. So we know how to do certain turnarounds that are quite strategic, but also they're driven long term. Now, some of the times the business owner is already healthy and profitable, and they're just simply looking to grow and scale. We have opportunities that we can actually help them go public without any specific costs up front, and it's very strategic because they'll have an international presence literally overnight if they know what they're doing. But they have to be debt free as well. So there are certain instances that we can introduce these services. And if you're interested and you don't necessarily want to invest in joining the A team, but you have businesses or perhaps you're a business owner, the three things that I'm looking for, number one, is if they're distressed and they're challenged financially and they have a lot of debt, that's something that we can look at. So feel free to reach out to me, Elliot@elliotttorafter.com, and just type in the title of the email, business opportunity, distressed, or whatever the case. And it can be confidential even if it's yourself or whatever the case. Number two, if it's a company that's looking to exit, if an owner is looking to exit in the next 3 to 4 years, basically they want to sell it, but they're looking for a safe pair of hands. They're looking for somebody to actually take over the business and who understands the gameplay. That's something that we do as well. So feel free to reach out to me about that. Again, business opportunity, owner exiting, and the title of the email, Elliot@elliotttorafter.com. And then finally, if you have a healthy and profitable company that's generating at least $1 million in revenue and EBITDA, which is income, earnings before taxes, interest and depreciation and amortization, that's something that you can let me know as well. Debt-free company, hopefully, and the owner is not necessarily looking to exit or retire, but necessarily looking for growth. They're looking for strategy to take them to the next level with scale. So that's something we have offer to help you with. So that's something if you're interested in just introducing us so that we can have conversations about, feel free to reach out to me, Elliot@elliotttorafter.com. And this is an opportunity and a landmark of all these type of services that I can help with and help businesses, successfully walk out of their situation, even if they have high debts in their businesses, without the consequence of a financial bankruptcy, whether it's on a business or personal level. It's definitely an analysis I can do. And by the way, all the services that I'm talking about doesn't cost any money for the business owner up front because we're results based. So that's what I do. I'm very comfortable in what I do. And of course, there's an exchange of things that we can do beyond that. But definitely wanted to let the word out to you guys so that you know about this and then we can perhaps work together on that. So those were the three topics I wanted to talk to you guys about today. The first, obviously, the budgeting. I gave you a little bit tips there. We talked about personal credit, how you need to really personalize it when it comes to your approach to getting your credit fixed. And of course, the business opportunities here on this side of things when it comes to restructuring the economy and hopefully helping business owners safely exit, restructure their business, or let them walk out without any financial consequences and without worrying about spending money up front. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed, once again, don't forget to smash that like button so that YouTube algo can go ahead and push that out and other people such as yourself can watch this video and learn. If you haven't subscribed yet, well, this is the time. Subscribe, and don't forget to turn the notifications on to all. So every time there's videos like these, you guys will be the first to know. On the comment section, let me know what you guys enjoyed the most today. I'll definitely want to create more videos for you guys and bring more value to you. What are some of the topics that you want me to talk about? So leave it in the comment section of this video and let me know, hey, Ali, I want you to talk about this, or can you talk about that? And I definitely want to help you guys out and provide as much value as I personally can to bring more content to you guys to help you learn and navigate the space of personal credit, finance, transformation, and business. And with that said, this is definitely your guide and mentor. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Stay safe and sound. Bye for now.